All right, welcome back, everyone, to Limitless Formula Racing League. We are here for the Formula 4 Championship event here at the Baku Street Circuit. We're just about to get the qualifying underway here today with our incredible drivers driving these 5 amazing teams. So let's take a look at what these drivers can do as we head into the one-shot qualifying. So, while we're watching these drivers go around the track, let's talk about this track and talk about what makes the Azerbaijan Grand Prix so special. So, we're here for round 3 of Limitless Formula Racing, the Thursday division, Formula 4, and this circuit is an incredible circuit. It truly is. It's the Baku Street Circuit, and it is located just off the Caspian Sea. A quick fact about Baku is that it has a fortress wall built around 1138, and it's just around turn 8 and turn 9, so you'll see it when we ride on board with some of these drivers. In terms of the track, we got 20 turns to make up a circuit length of 6.0 kilometers. That's 2.074 miles long. There's also 2 DRS zones to help encourage overtaking. So we're riding on board with one of the Monster Energy cars coming through that wall that I was talking about just a little bit earlier on. It looks like Crossfire Strikes currently has provisional pole position as we have a few spinners actually off the track. Crossfire reserving for the Toyota team today. And let's see as he comes down to the last heavy braking zone on this track. Purple sector for him as he's currently leading the way, but it's all about power down to the straight. Like I did mention, there is 2 DRS zones for round here, one of which on this straight, and it is one of the longest straights in the Formula 1 calendar. So down the straight, it looks like Crossfire Strikes is still leading us the way. Can Lucas A. Germany try and catch back up? And let's see. Crossfire is going to start on pole position by 0.2 of a second. So the Toyota team, with their reserve driver, Crossfire, will start on pole position for the sprint race coming up. Lucas A. Germany will qualify P2 with the Bentley in P3. Lewis qualifying with a 139.3. This track is very difficult, guys. I think it is going to be a very interesting Grand Prix. Of course, last time out we were in Spain, a very different track to this track as it's more open, where this track, it's got a lot more walls. So Toyota start on pole position with Crossfire Strikes as we head into the sprint qualifying. And then we got Lucas A. Germany reserving for Porsche in P2. And then the Bentley driver, Lewis, rounding off the top 3 with a 139.3. So you're probably wondering, who am I? Well, I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator for today in the LFR Formula 4 race. This is round 3 at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here at the Baku Street Circuit. So we're just about to head into the sprint qualifying, and if you guys missed out on the previous race in Spain, definitely go check that one out. It was a brilliant race. We had some very exciting end results as well. I do believe Nem was able to pick up a podium in that one, so congrats to him, and congrats to the other podium finishers as well. It was a truly incredible race. So as we head into round 3, the championship is getting really tight, and we can see some dark clouds coming in. And if you guys did watch out, or if you did watch the race last time out in Spain for round 2, you know that we had a sprint qualifying that drivers scored points in, and then we went into a reverse grid for the official 50% race. This time, we go back to originally the first round type of format. So what we're going to have is a sprint qualifying, no points being scored, and then the results from the sprint qualifying will move into the grid for the 50% race. We'll get used to this as we move on throughout the season. It is still a very new format, guys, and that's what makes it so exciting. So, it looks like everyone's ready to go. We're about to start the sprint race as we head into the 5 red lights out, but actually we're going to head into a formation lap first before we do so. So, these drivers will have a lap to kind of get used to the track and get ready for the sprint race. And as I mentioned briefly, there is clouds in the air, so could we see some rain coming in? We will find out in just a bit. So another thing to mention is strategy. Strategy is very, very interesting for around here because the tires really degrade fast. They degrade really fast for around here. So the softs probably last around 6 to 7 laps. Not very long, to be honest. And then The mediums aren't the greatest tire either. I mean, they're the best tire out of the three, but they don't last for very long either. Drivers tend to go for a 2-stop strategy for around here. I've even seen a 3-stop strategy work out, and it's not that common, but with a track like this having high degradation, it can come into play at certain stages. So as we look on to the beautiful architecture that Azerbaijan has, and of course at the capital city here in Baku, we're waiting for these drivers to finish up the formation lap and get underway. Let's quickly do the rundown of the grid before we get into the official race for the sprint qualifying. So Crossfire Strikes lines up on pole position, reserving for the Toyota team. He's got the Porsche reserve driver, Lucas A. Germany, in P2. The Bentley of Lewis starts P3 alongside Big Weir, also reserving for Porsche in 4th position. Daisy, number 1 fan in the Bentley, starts P5, so both Bentleys up in the top 5. Great to see that. And we got Kinsholm in P6. He won the race in Austria for the first round. Let's see, maybe he'll be able to win the sprint race and start on pole. Who knows what can happen. He's got Brad in the Toyota lining up alongside him on that row of the grid. And then we got Court, Limesky, Blades, Yo-Yo, Walter, Mr. Basil, who got very close to a podium last time out. And then we got Shug's Life, Nem, who got a podium last time out. And then we got Snooker, and then Thibbo Boy, Robin, and Flea rounding off the grid for Porsche, starting on the soft compound tires. I'm curious to see what these drivers will be able to do on those soft compound tires, kind of mixed throughout the grid, because we have a few drivers starting the mediums towards the back and a few on the softs as well. And then, of course, the top 10 all starts on the softs, because that's where they qualified and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I guess we move into the race now. The formation lap is ending. We're ready to go. And if you guys would like, send in some comments on your thoughts for the upcoming Grand Prix. Let us know your predictions for the sprint qualifying and also for the race as well. That would be hugely appreciated. And if I get a moment to, I'll try and read as best as I can of those comments that you guys send in. So definitely, if you guys have any questions about the format or just about the racing or really anything, just comment down below. And if you're enjoying the stream, subscribe to the channel and like the video. So, formation lap is over. We are ready to get the sprint qualifying underway. These 13 laps are about to be one of the best 13 laps ever in league racing. So, Crossfire Strikes lines up on pole position for the sprint qualifying as we head into this. So, here come the lights. They're on the grid, and it is Fiber Lights Out. And away we go for the racing here today in Azerbaijan. It's a really good start for the top 2. Really good start for Lewis as well as he makes his way down to turn 1. Crossfire and Lucas A. Germany side by side. It looks like there is a Bentley off the track. A little bit of carnage towards the back of the field. But it is Crossfire that gets ahead. Lewis that gets ahead of Lucas A. Germany. And he might try and get past Crossfire. But on the first couple of corners, we have a VSC that is called out on track. Crossfire Strikes has just been given a 5-second time penalty for gaining a place under the safety car. This is major. What happened here? We don't know exactly. I think they were side by side when the safety car came out. I wonder if Lewis was just a little bit further ahead, and Crossfire, unfortunately, maybe didn't see that and just got ahead. I'm not exactly sure how that all worked out, but the result is he got a 5-second time penalty, which he'll have to serve in the pit lane. This is absolutely drama for the Toyota driver who started on pole, still leading us away. But, unfortunately, he's got that penalty. Now, towards the back of the field, there was a little bit of chaos, it looks like, as a few drivers spun off. I think it was one of the Bentleys. I think it might have been Walter in the Bentley as he spun off at turn 1. I wonder if there was contact with another driver. Most likely there was, since turn 1 is very, very chaotic at times. But Lewis had a great start there. He really put the pressure on Lucas A. Germany, got past him at turn 2, and then tried to get past Crossfire Strikes. And I think if it wasn't for the VSC, he probably would have got past Crossfire. And actually, eventually, I think he did get past for a moment. But then the safety car came out and that kind of messed pretty much everything up. But now we're ready to get the racing underway. The virtual safety car is ending, and Crossfire Strikes will lead us away. He didn't get the best start off of the VSC, though, so Lewis might have the advantage to try and get past Crossfire Strikes. They're using all the time they can, all the ability they can to try and trying to use the slipstream here. Lewis is going to try and go for it, though. He's using the ERS. He's trying to go around the outside of Crossfire Strikes. He's going to try and go for the switchback maneuver on the Toyota driver. As we come down to turn 2, is Lewis going to try and send it down the inside? No, he does not. He has a lot of ERS to spare, though. But Crossfire gets a really good start off of turn 2. He gets a much better exit than his rival in P2. So Lewis cannot make the move on Crossfire just about yet. So moving down, further down the grid, we have a few drivers coming into the pit lane. It looks like 15th down, all drivers coming into the pits. Some of them putting on the softs, some of them putting on the mediums. And looks like Court also put on the hard compound tires. So the first driver to put onto the hards. Very, very interesting. Also, I wonder if these conditions out on track, these very gloomy conditions, I would say, with all the clouds out there, are affecting the tires as well. They could be affecting the tires, actually. So this will be very interesting. Oh, Crossfire makes a mistake. That invites Lewis to try and make the move. He's going to try and go for it. They're side by side through this very difficult section. You don't see a lot of moves right here, but it looks like it's just going to work out for Lewis. Beautiful. Oh, contact. Crossfire's got no wing. He hit the wall, I think, and that is another virtual safety car that has been caused because of that. This is absolutely not what Crossfire needed. He already had that 5-second penalty, and it's just going downward from here on. He's now got wing damage, and I wonder if there was contact with Lucas A. Germany and Crossfire. I saw Lewis get past, so it looks like that was all good, but then it looked like Crossfire and Lucas A. Germany maybe had some contact there as Lucas got past Crossfire. I wonder if either Crossfire just went into the wall on the right, or there was contact with Lucas A. Germany. It looks like that mistake earlier on maybe was because of him hitting turn 8. I've done it multiple times myself, guys. It is a very difficult corner to get right. It is one of the tightest corners on the Formula 1 calendar, besides the Monaco hairpin, really. Yeah, it is a very difficult section to get completely right. If you get one little mistake, if you have one little mistake, guys, you can just completely ruin your chances, and that looks like what's happened to Crossfire Strikes. He's unfortunately made that little mistake at turn 8, and now has to pit with wing damage and has to serve that 5-second penalty. He's going to be down in P11. Not the best of starts for Crossfire Strikes, but this is only 13 laps. We only have 10 laps remaining, and there is still a long way to go because this is not the end. The sprint race is not the end. We still have that 50% race, and that will be very interesting as well. We'll see how this all works out. So currently the two Bentleys lead us away. Lewis F1 ahead of number 1 fan in the second Bentley. It is the two Toyotas sitting 3rd and 4th. So 1-2 for Bentley and 3-4 for Toyota. Very interesting. And then Mr. Basil is up to P5. Robin up to P6. I think they started towards the back of the grid and they're already up into the top 6. Very good job by the both of them there. Meanwhile, Crossfire is making the move on, I think, the Monster Energy car, who may have damage or something like that because he has gone down the field. Ooh, yeah, he's definitely got damage. You can see him just struggling to keep it out of the wall there. Thank goodness he didn't hit the wall there, as, yeah, you could definitely tell he's got damage. So the Monster Energy car, unfortunately, is... oh, what happened to Brad? Something happened to Brad. All I was going to say was the Monster Energy car, unfortunately, will have to pit. I think Brad might have got damage. This track, yeah, he's definitely got damage. This track, guys, is one of the tracks that you get the most damage on. You would think that Monaco or Singapore or even Saudi Arabia would be a track that you would get a lot of damage on, and they are, but Azerbaijan, I have seen more drivers make damage with the car, you know, like have collisions with the car into the wall and retire from the Grand Prix. This is where I've seen the most collisions because there are so many walls on the track, and one little mistake with the turning of the car and you're done. You hit the wall, you get damage, or worse, you retire, which is unfortunate, of course, and it looks like a few drivers have gotten damage already, but that's how it goes in league racing. That's how it goes in racing in general, actually, as you've got to make sure that you're completely focused, especially for difficult tracks like this, and a lot of people really think that this track is an incredible circuit. I really like it. It is a very difficult circuit, but that's also why it's so fun, because it is difficult. It's kind of like Monaco. You know, Monaco is a very unique circuit, and I think a lot of people really like it because it is so difficult. It is one of the most difficult circuits in the world, actually. So, yeah, Azerbaijan is another one that adds to that list. So, after Brad comes out, or he came out in P12. He's now going to be chasing after Thibbo Boy in the Ford in P11. Meanwhile, Crossfire Strikes, who's on those new medium compound tires, is starting to catch up to Kiensom and Lucas A. Germany. Lucas A. Germany also pit. I don't think I mentioned that. I may have briefly mentioned that. But, yeah, he's come out in P7, 2.5 seconds behind Shug's Life. So the Porsche car will look to get ahead of the Ford that's just up the road, so that'll be good as well. Meanwhile, as Lucas A. Germany, as we were speaking of him, just set the fastest lap of the race. But meanwhile, Mr. Basil, Robin, and looks like Yo-Yo are having a great battle here for third, as it looks like Robin has just got past Mr. Basil and now try and make this a 1-2-3 for Bentley. Bentley have really been going for these 1-2-3s. It's, ooh, Robin almost went into the wall there. Thank goodness he missed it, but he was very close to hitting the wall and ending his race. But thank goodness he didn't. That just proves how difficult this track is, guys. A lot of lockups. That's going to be a big thing, too. Drivers braking sooner and getting so close to the wall where you can hit the wall. Braking is critical for around here, and I think this track you're going to see a lot of lockups by a lot of drivers. That's another thing. That's another thing I want to mention. That's another reason why these tires degrade so much, because you're having to go into fast corners, and then you're also having to go into super low corners, and you're getting flat spots on your tires because you're locking up and all that sort of thing. So it can be very difficult. But it looks like Robin is trying to make the move on Yo-Yo. Let's ride on board with the Bentley, as we have been doing for quite some time now. He's getting very close to the Toyota. I think he's going to try and make the move, and Robin started towards the back of the grid. And you know what? If Bentley finished P1, P2, and P3, this would be absolutely perfect for them. We saw in Spain that the three drivers really worked well together when getting into making sure that they all did a great race. As Robin gets past Yo-Yo up into first now, as it would be third, but Daisy number 1 fan and Lewis come into the pit lane for the two Bentleys. The Bentleys both come into the pit lane and will come out in, I do believe, P6, P7, and P8. Yes, actually it will be P6 and P8, because Keystone will split the two Bentleys. And we'll look to get past Lewis, actually. He gets very close to the back of the Bentley car. Ooh, a little bit of squirrely off of the exit of that particular corner. He gets back on track, though. All good there. But yeah, what I was saying earlier is that in Spain, we saw the three drivers working really well together with that safety car. You guys know what I mean if you guys watched the Spanish Grand Prix last week. But yeah, these three drivers did a really good job in making sure that they kept a good gap. They worked really well together and holding back. Like one driver would kind of lead us away, and then the other driver in second place would kind of just go ahead and make sure that there's a good gap between the two drivers, and then the third driver would defend as much as possible from the drivers behind. It really worked out for the three Bentleys, actually, as they worked really well together. So Lucas A. Germany just got past Mr. Basil. I do believe that was in the S's there. Very unique corner it is, the triple left-hander of turn 13, 14, and 15. So Lucas gets ahead of Mr. Basil. Mr. Basil under pressure from Shug's Life, and might be under pressure from Lewis quite soon, as he's only 2.4 seconds behind the driver that was leading the Grand Prix and could be winning the sprint qualifying, and that means he'll be starting on pole position for the 50% race, which we'll be having in just a few moments' time. Oh, interesting. Mr. Basil and Shug's Life do come into the pit lane now, so they're going to come into the pits and most likely put onto the soft compound tires. Lewis will end up in P4, and Lewis's battle is really between himself and Lucas A. Germany, because Lucas A. Germany has now basically come out in P1, because once Robin and Yo-Yo pit, Lucas will be P1, but he's got to remind himself that Lewis does have fresher tires, but it's all about if Lewis can catch up. He's 3.9 seconds to Lucas A. Germany. I think Lucas might have this race victory. I think it might be Lewis in P2 at the end of this. Because the thing is that Lucas, if he can consistently keep the gap to Lewis, no problem. He should be able to win the race and start on pole position for the 50% race. So we'll see how this all works out. Daisy number 1 fan is starting to close on Keensom, and Keensom's starting to close on Lewis, actually. He's starting to get closer and closer to the Bentley car. Let's see if he's going to be able to do that. Now, he is on medium compound tires that are 3 laps old, so he does have 3 lap older tires than Lewis and number 1 fan. So we'll see how this works out. But Daisy is going to look to try and get past Keensom as soon as possible, because he wants to get ahead of the Ford, so he can make sure that he gets good points for the Bentley team in the 50% race. He wants to start as high as possible, and as I did mention earlier, in this sprint qualifying, these drivers will not be scoring any points. They will just be starting the grid. They'll be starting where they are. It can be a little confusing, of course, with the switch in format, because last race we had drivers scoring points in the sprint race, but in this one, they won't be scoring any points, and then they'll be starting where they finish in the sprint qualifying. So Yo-Yo and Robin come into the pits. Both drivers are pitting onto the soft compound tires as expected, and the question now is, where will they come out? Will they come out ahead of Thibbo and Brad? It looks like they will. Robin will actually come out right behind Big Weir. Yo-Yo will come out right ahead of Brad. So that's good there for Toyota. Meanwhile, it looks like there was a battle between Dazzy and Kingsome. Yes, there is. And it looks like Dazzy just let Kingsome by. I wonder if there was some unfair contact there or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but they are having a nice battle here for P3. Dazzy looking for the switchback maneuver and trying to get the better exit. You don't see a lot of moves into turn 7. Let's see if he's going to send it down the inside. No, he's not. He's going to back off. He knows that there's not a lot of space into that particular section, and he knows the better place to make the overtake would be into the DRS zone into turn 1. But these two are having a great battle here. This is great to see. And meanwhile, Crossfire Strikes is starting to close the gap as he just got a 3-second time penalty. That's not very good for his chances. But look at Dazzy. I think he's going to try and go for it on Kingsome. No, he actually backs off. I thought he was going to try and send it if there was an opportunity for him to do so. But he didn't get past. He knows that the better situation for him would be to overtake Kingsome on the DRS straight, which is coming up. And this is the better situation for him. This is the better option for him, as it looks like there's a yellow flag at turn 8. That might be for Court, not exactly sure. Ooh, this was close between the two, as Dazzy's going to the inside line. He's going to try and make the move on Kingsome. There we go. Looks like the Bentley's going to get ahead. Kingsome coming back, though. He's got more ERS. He's going to try and send it around the outside. Yes, he is going to try and go around the outside, and he's going to keep it going with the Bentley. The Ford and the Bentley side by side. I'm getting a terrible camera angle there, but that's okay. They're still side by side. Coming down into turn 2. That is brilliant racing between the two drivers there. Number 1 fan comes out behind Kingsome. Kingsome keeps ahead, where number 1 fan had the power on the DRS straight earlier on. Kingsome came back, kept it side by side for the first 2 corners, and is going to keep ahead. Brilliant racing. Absolutely brilliant. Meanwhile, Big Weir and Robin having a nice battle as well. Robin's starting to close up on Big Weir on those soft compound tires. I think he's going to try and make the move. Let's see, as the Bentley is looking for the move on Big Weir. Now, Robin is going to be on fresher tires, so this will work out pretty good for him. He's not going to get past just yet, though. He's going to wait for that DRS zone. Number 1 fan coming back at Kingsome. He's right on the back of the Ford there. He is within a 1/10 of a second to the Ford. I think he's going to try and go for it. Come on, Dazzy. Go for it. No, he's not. And you know what? That's a smart move, because he knows that the DRS zone's coming up, and he wants to get past there. Oh, Kingsome makes a mistake, though. Number 1 fan comes back at him. But he wants that DRS. He's letting him pass. He's letting Kingsome pass. Dazzy knows that he wants the DRS, so he's going to stay behind and get that DRS. It's using all the ERS that he can. Has the DRS, and I think he's actually going to try and get the move done before he gets to that DRS line. And he's actually going to get past Kingsome, but is Kingsome going to try and do exactly what he did previously? No. Number 1 fan defends, but Kingsome switches to the inside. He switches to the inside, and he might try it. No, he does not. Number 1 fan keeps it going, keeps it ahead, but here comes the second DRS zone. Kingsome gets a better exit out of that particular section. Then number 1 fan is now going to have to defend like crazy if he wants 3rd place in this Grand Prix. Kingsome's going to go to the outside line. Number 1 fan has to get ahead here, but no, Kingsome gets ahead. He cuts him off there and gets ahead. Number 1 fan doesn't have any opportunity to go down the inside, because Kingsome absolutely brilliantly just kept ahead and just made sure that he just stayed ahead and defended that line. So number 1 fan couldn't send it on the Ford. That was brilliant from Kingsome there. Number 1 fan will look to get past, but he can't right now. Meanwhile, these two, while they're battling for position, Robin did get past Big Weir and is now starting to chase after these two drivers. We're going to have a three-way fight for P3 in this Grand Prix. This is going to be absolutely incredible. What team will be in P3? Will it be Ford? Will it be Bentley? Or will it be the reserve Porsche driver, Big Weir? So here comes number one fan, yet again, trying to overtake Kingsholm. Kingsholm got ahead into turn 3. Number one fan will look to get past into turn 1, but I'm smelling a similar situation to what happened in the previous 2 laps. Not exactly sure how this is going to work out. Let's see. Number one fan using the ERS. He's going for it. He wants to go for this position. I think what he has to do is trying to get as much as he can ahead of his rival here. He wants to get as far as possible ahead of Kingsholm, because the thing is that he knows that Kingsholm will have the DRS down to turn 3, and that could affect. But it looks like Kingsholm went a little too wide in that particular section. He's going to look to get the better line out of that turn 2. Number one fan's going to defend, but I don't think Kingsholm's going to get past unless he's going to send it to the outside line. Number one fan defending, Kingsholm looking for the move, but he doesn't go for it. He was looking for the move to the inside line, but didn't go for it. That's a smart decision from the Ford driver. He's going to keep it going, though, but he's got Robin right behind. Number one fan has backed Kingsholm into Robin now, and Robin is now going to try and get past the Ford driver and make this 3 Bentleys in the top 4. Currently, there's 3 Bentleys in the top 5, and this is going to be brilliant for Bentley if they can start here. We'll find out in just a moment, though. So while this has happened, Daisy number one fan has been able to get that gap to Kingsholm. So the battle pretty much stops there, and now it's really a battle between Robin and Kingsholm. So this is going to be very interesting. Let's see how this all works out. And meanwhile, while we're having this great battle, we still have the, I guess the battle for first and second. It is 4 seconds separating Lewis and Lucas A. Germany. It looks to finish that way. I don't see any change in that. Further down the grid, there's not too many battling going on. Just kind of drivers making it to the end of the race. That's kind of all they're wanting to do right now. They're just trying to make it to the end of it. Meanwhile, look at this. Look at this. Big Weir going to go for 1, possibly 2. Oh, that was brilliant. They're 3 wide. They're 3 wide down to turn 1. This is absolutely brilliant from Big Weir. I did not see him there, but he went not just for 1, but possibly 2. Kingsholm gets ahead. But he goes off track. He goes off track. Big Weir might be able to get past, but Robin now gets ahead on not 1, but possibly 2. He's going to try and go for it. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the 3 drivers there. But Big Weir, Robin, and Kingsholm, what a brilliant battle that was. Down the straight, they were swapping positions like crazy there to try and have a battle there. That is absolutely brilliant to see. Robin in P5, Big Weir in P6, Kingsholm in P4. So the 3 drivers are swapping positions. Ooh, Robin gets a little bit too much on the throttle there. And unfortunately spun a little bit, lost a little bit of time to Kingsholm. But I hope to see this battle continuing on in the 50% race, guys. I would love to see these 3 going at it. And I mean, Dazzy number one fan was also having a great battle there for, what was it, 3rd place with Kingsholm. So we could see a possible 4-way fight for 3rd. That would be absolutely incredible. We'll have to see how that works out. Meanwhile, Yo-Yo is starting to gain a little bit of time on the rest of the field. He's 4.3 seconds behind. I don't think it's going to be enough unless these 3 have some sort of contact, which is possible. But with the incredible racing they've been showing, I don't think there's going to be any contact. As we enter the final lap of the race, who will finish 4th in this Grand Prix? This is going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see how this works out. But here comes Big Weir. Oh, not 1, but possibly 2. Yes, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. Big Weir gets ahead as Thibbo is out of the race. That could cause a virtual safety car. Robin's not going to go for it on Kingsholm. They're side by side. Big Weir got ahead. That was brilliant by Big Weir. And now Kingsholm's going to try and get ahead of Big Weir. Here comes Robin as well. They're going to make it 3 wide once again down to turn 1. Kingsholm gets ahead. Robin tries to fight back. Big Weir gets involved as well. Big Weir will get ahead of Robin, I do believe. As Nem is also out of the race. What happened there? Ooh, what happened here? Oh dear. What is going on here? Oh dear, slow down, slow down. Oh no. A little bit of a pile up there, but that's okay. Someone's got to tell Limeskate to trying to get here as well. Liam, come on. Hopefully you gotta get the braking perfectly here. Hopefully he sees that yellow flag. I think he should. Oh, and the car ghosted. Thank goodness. So Liam will be able to get all okay there. that was quite interesting. I haven't seen a pileup like that in a while. Court couldn't get the car slowed down in time. Unfortunately, hit the drivers there. But they weren't really battling for points, so I gotta say it wasn't like the biggest situation there. It wasn't like the craziest thing that could happen, but that's okay. Meanwhile, look at the battle for fourth now. Robin and Big Weir. Oh, that's Kingsholm out. Kingsholm out of the race. Where is that at? That is at that's at the triple left-handers. Kingsholm out of the race. That's really difficult for him, but it is Lucas A. Germany that wins the sprint race. Congrats to him. The Porsche reserve driver grabs P1. Lewis grabs P2 for Bentley. Number one fan grabs P3 for Bentley. Robin and Big Weir are side by side. It's a photo finish, and Big Weir will just about get ahead for Porsche and get P4. Robin will get P5. It is three Bentleys up in the top 5. Great to see that. It is also 3 Toyotas in the top 10. And unfortunately, Kingsholm crashed out on the final lap. It looks like Flea also crashed out as well. Oh my goodness, that's horrible for Kingsholm. He's going to starting P16 in the Grand Prix. I think he maybe just went too wide, maybe got wing damage off of turn 8, kind of like a similar situation what happened to Crossfire earlier on. It kind of looks like that was the case there. But wow, guys, what an incredible race that truly was. Lucas A. Germany, the winner of the sprint qualifying. He will start on pole position for the 50% Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It is 3 Bentleys up in the top 5 as well. Big Weir and Robin and Kingsholm had a brilliant battle for P4. That was absolutely incredible. Also, Yo-Yo, Brad, Crossfire made it into the top 10 for Toyota as well, so great to see that. And Shug's Life and Walter complete the top 10 in P9 and P10. As I did mention previously, there is not going to be any points scored for this race. It is all on to the 50% race. It's all just the normal points being scored, so we're going back to the same format as we got in Austria. So that's how that worked out. Yeah, now we head into the race, into a very exciting one. I'm assuming it's going to be brilliant to see what these guys can do, but it is Lucas A. Germany that wins the race. The reserve driver, if I'm not mistaken, for Porsche. He's going to grab P1. Great to see them. Driver of the day, Robin. Wow. Okay, yeah, I got to agree with that. Robin went from the back of the grid to 4th? 5th? 5th. Yeah, it was 5th. He went to 5th. That was brilliant by him as well. He had a really strong drive for Bentley. He went from the back and battled away with many other of his opponents. That battle for P4, I think it was, with Kingsholm and Big Weir. That was absolutely incredible to see how that all turned out. But Robin did get P5 and the driver of the day as well. Congrats to him. But it is Lucas A. Germany that grabs P1 for Porsche. It is also Bentley, and both Bentleys actually making it up onto the podium, so great to see that as well. But that's the results for the sprint qualifying race. Fastest lap goes to Crossfire, but none of these points will matter as we head into the 50% race. These drivers will get ready for another exciting one, and one race that I think will be much more exciting than the sprint qualifying. Alright, so we're ready to go for this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. If you guys did enjoy the sprint race and are looking forward to the next 50% race, let us know down in the comments and like this video if you have enjoyed it all so far. Subscribe to the channel to see more content on LFR. this league not just does Thursday division, they also do Mondays and Tuesdays, brilliant divisions, as these guys put out some incredible content on that. I know that there's live streams for both of them, and I do believe highlight videos for all 3 divisions, which is absolutely incredible. You don't get that very often in league racing, so the commitment by LFR is absolutely incredible. Keep it up to all the admins that have been doing an absolutely amazing job in Season 3. So, let's move on to the race. We are ready to go. It looks like we're just waiting for the admins to set the grid from the results of the sprint qualifying. What did you guys think about that sprint qualifying? Let me know down in the comments below. That was a brilliant race. It was, wow. I don't even have words to describe it. It was that entertaining. There was a lot of battling, which was great to see. A lot of side-by-side action between drivers all through the grid. We also had that pile-up at the end, which was a little bit funny, I gotta say, just because of how much cars was right there. I mean, like, it was, of course, an unfortunate situation. Yeah, it was crazy to see that. I just haven't seen a pile up like that in a while. And it really didn't affect the points. It just kind of affected starting positions, which of course was a little unfortunate, but that's okay. That's how it worked out. But yeah, that is the worst place to have a pile up at, because the thing is that the brake, because you're so fast, you're pretty much in 7th to 8th gear at turn 14, which is the second of the triple left-handers, and then you come down into the final left-hander, which is like the biggest braking zone on the track. And it's such a difficult corner because you got that wall right there. You're turning the car, and your car's it's pulling itself towards the right-hand side of the track, which is that really difficult wall. That's why a lot of people lock up there and they go off into that escape zone. That's another reason for that. But yeah, that was the worst place for a pile up, actually. Just because of the braking there. It could be very difficult. So anyway, moving on, what can we talk about? Well, we can talk about this upcoming Grand Prix strategy, drivers. We also, actually, something else I want to mention as well is that every 3 weeks we have the pot system, because we have our 3rd championship in this amazing format here in Formula 4. So how that kind of works is that, I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, the pot system, we're going to have 2 drivers being promoted to the next pot. That's kind of how that works out. It is really great idea, actually. I gotta say, it is something that you don't see that often in league racing. It is really cool. It's a really cool idea. I would love to see that in more leagues, you know? So credit to these guys, as they pretty much invented that system for this league. Yeah. It is going to be interesting to see how that all works out. The pot system is a very unique system. I really do enjoy that. So yeah, what you guys need to know is that 2 drivers from the previous pot that they were in, so let's say pot 4, they will move up to pot 3. That's kind of how that works out. But anyway, yeah, so another thing I want to talk about is strategy. We saw a little bit of it in the sprint qualifying, but the thing is that since it was a 25% race, we didn't get the full kind of data off of what the strategy was like and what the tire wear was like, but in the 50% race, we're going to get that. And so what you need to know is that the tire strategy is a very interesting one, because drivers can choose 2-stop, they can choose a 1-stop, but the basic thing is they have to make sure that they conserve those tires. That is critical for this race. While racing is pretty much #1 priority, I'd say a very close #2 priority, and maybe even #1, would be tire strategy, because that's pretty much what gets you to win the race. Not just the racing out on track, but the tire strategy as well. Because the thing is that the degradation on these tires is pretty extreme for around here, kind of like other tracks like Bahrain and China, Shanghai and the Bahrain International Circuit. Both tracks have pretty similar degradation to Baku Street Circuit here. Yeah, the degradation is going to be pretty high. And so what this means is that drivers have to make sure that they make those tires last and choose use the best strategy, because one mistake with the strategy could end their race and give them a puncture, or just degradation even with the tires could make the tires slide a lot, and that is exactly what you don't want for around here. You want to make sure you have the best grip as possible. Also, downforce is key for around here, because you want a lot of low downforce. You want a lot of low downforce for the straights, but at the same time, you want a higher downforce setting. So I would say a medium to high downforce setting for around here, because of all those corners. And the reason why I say that is because you want to make sure you have the perfect turning for you. You want to make sure that you have the perfect turning. Because if you have just a little bit of understeer, that could end your race because it goes straight into the wall. Like other circuits, like maybe France, the Paul Ricard circuit, or Spellberg, which we had a little bit earlier on, the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Those tracks, you have runoff. You have lots of runoff. You have wide open spaces for mistakes and stuff like that. With this, the mistake is basically you're out of the race. I mean, you could be officially out, or you could just have wing damage, and that can completely ruin your race. So the best thing for drivers here is understeer. You don't want any understeer, and you want to make sure that you have good tires that are not losing grip, because you want to make sure you have the best grip so you can turn into the corner as best as possible. You want to make sure that you are pretty much one with the car. So enough with all that and the technical terms and all that sort of thing with strategy. I just kind of wanted to bring that up because it is something that is very, very big coming into today's race. We are ready to get the race underway. We're ready to get the formation lap underway. We have sunny skies here just off the Caspian Sea here in Baku. I'm going to do a rundown of the grid one more time before we get the Azerbaijan Grand Prix underway. So it is Lucas A. Germany that won the sprint race last time out. He had a brilliant race. I think he pit a little earlier than the rest of the drivers. He starts P1 alongside the first of the Bentleys, starting in P2. Now, both drivers are on the soft compound tires, which is going to be very interesting to see. Number one fan is in P3, and we got Big Weir in P4. They're both on the medium compound tires. And looking down at the rest of the grid, we got Robin and Yo-Yo on the third row of the grid. One Bentley in fifth and one Toyota in sixth. Brad and Crossfire making an all-Toyota fourth row of the grid, starting P7 and P8. Shug's Life is P9 for Ford, the first of the Fords, starting alongside Walter in the Bentley. He's on the soft compound tires in the mix with some other medium compound runners as well, so that's going to be great to see. Court, Mr. Basil, Liam, Snooker, and then we got Blades, Kingsholm, Flea, and Nem rounding off the grid. I expect a few drivers coming through the field in today's race. I expect them making some good recovery drives after a difficult sprint race. One driver I want to see do well is Kingsholm, because he crashed out in the final lap, if I'm not mistaken. He starts P16. I think he's going to be a driver that's going to be coming through the field and trying to just make sure that he gets up to the top 10 and starts battling for some good points in today's race. Also, in today's race, every single driver will be able to score points. So that's kind of how that works out. But the thing is that it will be a very different point system. So I do believe first will score 35 points, but I could be wrong about that. I have to look at a chart to what exactly the point system is. I have to admit I do not have the information up on my screen right now, but that's okay. We will move on. So anyway, we are ready to get the racing underway. Lucas A. Germany is coming to the line now. We're ready to get the 26 laps of the underway as we head into the first or the second race today here in Azerbaijan. And this one is the big one. We are ready to go for today's Grand Prix, today's Azerbaijan race for round 3 of the Formula 4 Championship here in LFR. I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator for today. If you want to see what I do on social media, you can check out my YouTube channel, Formula Jonah, that is the name of it, to see content that I do. So, we're ready to go for the LFR Grand Prix here today in Azerbaijan. We're ready to start off the race as the fiber lights are about to go out. So it's 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights, and it is fiber lights out. And away we go for the racing here today in Azerbaijan. It's a really good start for Lucas A. Germany. Really good start for Lewis as well. They're going 3 wide down to turn 1. A little bit of contact, I think, with one of the Porsches. Robin got a really good start. Same with number 1 fan. So it is the 3 Bentleys in P2, P3, and P4. Big Weir down to P5. He's under pressure from one of the Toyotas. That's Brad. Got past Yo-Yo there. But a pretty clean start for everyone. No crashes so far. It's actually at the back. We do have a little bit of collision. I think that's Nem towards the back. But there goes Brad down the inside of the Porsche. Big Weir. A little bit of contact between the two there. But it looks like it's all okay between these two drivers. There is Yo-Yo down the inside on his teammate. So Yo-Yo will look to get past Brad. Brad keeps ahead for now, though. Crossfire also trying to get past as well. Now, remember, Crossfire's got some really good pace in that Toyota. The sprint race didn't really work out well for him. But he's going to look to get past Yo-Yo and Brad and all the rest of the drivers up there. So meanwhile, Lucas A. Germany leads us away with Lewis in P2, number 1 fan in P3, Robin in P4, Big Weir in P5. Big Weir is reserving for Porsche as he is on the medium compound tires. Has been putting up an incredible race today. He was my co-commentator in the previous race in Spain, so I want to see him do well. Oh, number 1 fan. Did he hit the wall there? I think there was a little bit of tap on the wall. That might have affected his wing. Let's ride on board with the Bentley and see what damage he's got, if he has any. Hopefully he does not. No, I don't think he has any damage. That's actually really good. That was very lucky to see that. So Robin is going to try and make the move on number 1 fan. He is on the soft compound tires. He's going to look to get ahead. And Big Weir is going to look to get ahead as well. Oh, number 1 fan does have damage. He's coming into the pit lane. I must have not seen it. It must be very light damage, but that does affect your entire race. So, unfortunately, number 1 fan is going to be down to about the back of the grid. That is incredibly unfortunate for the Bentley driver, as he's going to be down to P15. So, it's now only 2 Bentleys in the top 5. Unfortunate. Meanwhile, Kingsholm is up to 8th. That was a really good start by him. I want to find the, where is it? There we go, position changes. He has gained 8 positions for Kingsholm. Congrats to him. He is making his way through the field, already up to P8, and on the back of the Toyota trio there. Oh, and I don't want none. I want to get tires. There we go. We are back. I gotta say, I know we have been talking about liveries for a while now. It is very early on, so I'm still admiring these liveries. Look at the beautiful Toyota livery. I just love the red. I mean, it looks so cool. That red. It looks like a Toyota. I would love to see Toyota return to F1. They haven't been in F1. I think the last time they were in F1 was 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 2008. I think it was 2009, though. They came into F1 in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't have a great season. Or great couple of seasons. Their time in Formula 1 was short-lived, and they didn't really earn much either. I think their best position in the championship was like 5th or 4th or something like that. I don't have all the information on Toyota in Formula 1. Maybe they'll do a YouTube video sometime about that. If you guys would like to see a Toyota history video on Formula 1, let me know. I can do that. Anyway, Crossfire is looking to make the move on Brad. Brad, it looks like he's slowing down. I think there's some team orders going on here between the two Toyotas. As it looks like Yo-Yo will look to try and get past as well. No, he's further down the grid. I thought he was closer to the other 2 Toyotas. Crossfire gets ahead. I wonder if that was... I think that is team orders, to be honest, between the 2 Toyotas there. I think that was the best situation, and they got to worry, too, because Kingsholm is coming in fast. He's 8/10 now behind Yo-Yo. Meanwhile, up at the front, Big Weir starting to close the gap on Rob. That Porsche livery is absolutely incredible as well. I love all these liveries, guys. I love them all. Yeah, I really love that Porsche livery with the gold and stuff like that. It just looks really cool. And that Bentley too. That Bentley looks really neat. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of going off about how I love these liveries so much, but that's okay. We can move on. Speaking of one of those liveries, and particularly the driver in P3 who's running that beautiful Bentley livery, Robin, starting to drop off of Lewis, I want to say. 2.1 seconds separating separating second and third position. I wonder if Robin and Lewis have some sort of agreement. Maybe like Lewis is like the driver to try and get ahead. Oh, that's Nem out. Nem out of the race. Is that a VSC or a full course safety car? It is a full course safety car out on track, and that pretty much changes everything in this Grand Prix. I think a lot of drivers will probably come into the pit lane. Nem out at that particular section. Liam will just move past, so that's good. As it looks like everyone on the sauce will probably come into the pit lane. I'm curious to see what Big Weir's going to do. He stays out. Crossfire also stays out. Brad comes in the pit lane. Yo-Yo into the pit lane as well on the mediums. Does Keensome stay out? Yes, he does. He'll move up to P3. Very interesting. So Lewis into the pit lane with wing damage as well. When did he get wing damage? I don't remember that. He must have got wing damage somehow. Unfortunate. But he's going to come out behind his teammate. And I think behind the Monster Energy car, who's just coming around turn 1. I think actually he'll just about get ahead, but Brad will come out right behind the Monster Energy now in P10. So that's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. We move on. So Big Weir leads us away for Porsche, Crossfire in P2, and Keensome in P3. So it is one Porsche, one Toyota, and one Ford in P1, P2, and P3, and a Bentley in P4. A Bentley in P4. Walter in P4. He's decided to stay on the soft compound tires. I wonder if that was the best move for him. I don't know exactly, because those softs, they're great pretty fast. Personally, I probably would have pit, but maybe he wanted to gain the time and get ahead. And to be honest, I completely see that. Maybe he's hoping for a second safety car, which could completely happen. I mean, in the past races here in Azerbaijan, we've had so many safety cars. Who can remember the 2017 Grand Prix, when it was actually first called the Azerbaijan Grand Prix? The previous year in 2016, which was the first race in the Baku street circuit, it was actually called the European Grand Prix. So the first name of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, or the first name of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, was 2017. That was the first year it was used. But yeah, there was a lot of safety cars in 2017, and I still remember watching that live, and that was a brilliant Grand Prix. I think that was the first race that I kind of got hooked into F1, because I started watching in 2017, and that was won by one of my favorite drivers, Daniel Ricciardo. He won the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. That was when Bottas overtook Stroll on the line. I will never forget that one. And Stroll got his first podium as well, and he became, I do believe, the youngest podium sitter in Formula 1. I think that record still holds. Not exactly sure. I wonder if Norris broke that. I don't know exactly. I think Stroll, actually. I think that record still does stand. I'll have to get more information on that. Ooh, interesting. Walter comes into the pit lane. I wonder if maybe he thought that that was not the best strategy or something like that. Or maybe the safety car just... Maybe the pit lane was blocked? Not exactly sure what happened there. But Walter does come into the pit lane. So Walter into the pit lane for Bentley. We'll pit onto the medium compound tires. So the team will pit onto a set of mediums. And he will come out in P15. And Blades will, I think, be in P16. I think that's how that's going to work out. So riding on board with Big Weir in the Porsche. He will lead us away, and the question is, when will he go? When the safety car comes in, will he come just off the exit of the corner, the final corner at turn 20, or will he go on the straight? I would personally go on the straight, as I think that's probably the best place for him to go. Not exactly sure, though, where he will go. We'll see how this works out. All right, so I think we're just waiting for the safety car to come in this lap. I think it should. We will find out in just a moment's time. But we should be able to have the safety car come in. This will be good. and the safety car will come in this lap. Interesting. Okay, so safety car in this lap. Crossfire will look to get the better jump on Big Weir. We will see. Let's ride on board with the Toyota and see exactly where he's going to go. And the question is, will he go on the straight or will he go on the turn? It looks like the safety car hasn't reached the pit lane yet, so he will probably go on the straight. Safety car should be coming in now, just about now. Yep, there it goes. It's in the pit lane now. And there goes Big Weir. Immediately when the safety car comes in, he goes, and Big Weir gets a really good start, actually, off of Crossfire strikes. Here comes Keensholm as well on those medium compound tires. Crossfire looking for the move. Keensholm trying to make the move. They both looked for it. Ooh, those drivers going very wide. A lot of drivers going wide. That corner can be very difficult. As we have Lucas A. Germany down the inside of court. Oh, contact at the back. Major contact. Oh, it's a pile-up. It's a major pile-up at turn 2. Major pile-up. One car spun and everyone just went in there. This is horrible. I think this is going to be a full course safety car. I think, oh, dear goodness. Oh, my goodness. What just happened here? Major pile-up, though, as everyone crashed out at turn 2. I think that could be another safety car. As everyone... That's Stacy, number 1 Fed out of the race, I think? No, I think he's still in the race. But that has just caught out all the Bentleys. All the Bentleys. Flea is out as well. That was a major pileup. Sector 1 yellow flag. I am surprised that's not even a VSC. If that was real F1, that would have been a red flag. That would have been a total red flag. But the top 10 got away well, and it looks like the bottom pack there just got involved in a huge incident. I think what happened was there was contact with, I think, Robin and one of the Fords, if I'm not mistaken. Something happened between those two drivers. A car was spun around, and then everyone was coming out of the corner. I think they didn't see the car ahead, and then they just all went into the back there of the other cars, and it just came into a mess, basically. It's the best way I could really put it. But it's all good. We move on. Only one driver out because of that. A few drivers do have to pit, though. But Crossfire is up into P1, and he will get up into first. Keensholm a further second behind. So Crossfire up into the lead of the Grand Prix now. This could be for the race win. Lucas A. Germany is now up to 4th, though. He is starting to gain time, and he is on those 2-lap-old medium compound tires. I think he's going to try and make these mediums last at the end of the Grand Prix, which is going to be very difficult to do. But who knows? We'll see. So it looks like a few drivers coming into the pit lane. I do believe Yo-Yo is into the pits. Possibly, I think that's Mr. Basil in the pits lane as well. I think Walter is in the pit lane. Yep, it is Walter in the pit lane as well. Court, and I do believe Brad also coming into the pit lane. And I do believe number 1 fan will also do the same. But Lucas A. Germany is just at the purple sector in sector 1. So pretty much flying right now. Looking really strong. Oh, Yo-Yo just got a 5-second time penalty for crossing the pit lane exit. Okay, I haven't seen that one in a while. It's been a while since that happened. Yellow flags, that is Blades. Ooh, that is at turn 3. Exit at turn 3, entrance of turn 4. He's got no wing. Blades off the track. I think Yo-Yo off the track as well. One of the Toyotas is off at turn 2. It's not been a great day for the Toyota team as they're down in P10 and P11 and P15. And Crossfire is a reserve, if I'm not mistaken, for Toyota. But let's move on to the other drivers. Let me quickly get to Lucas A. Germany. And Keensholm. It looks like Big Weir is actually going to try and go for the move on Crossfire strikes. We're getting an awkward camera. Oh my goodness, I can't say. Awkward camera angle. There we go. Big Weir is going to try and get that move and try and get past Crossfire as soon as possible. Probably down into turn 3. Let's see. I don't know why I got a very awkward camera angle there. That's okay, though. That's how it goes. But Big Weir, he doesn't have the DRS yet, because DRS is not enabled. Actually, no, he doesn't. I am totally mistaken. It is time for the DRS, but he couldn't get past. I think Crossfire might be running a lower downforce setting. That could explain why he didn't have a lot of speed in the sprint qualifying in the... through the corners. Like, look at this. I think he's struggling a little bit with getting through there. As that is a full course safety car on a track, because that is Blades out of the race. And that is at the same corner where Keenstone crashed out in the sprint qualifying. What happened there? I think he must have maybe he got too much understeer into that particular section and then just crashed out. It kind of looks like that was the case, but whatever's happened, the safety car has come out for the second time in the Grand Prix, and we'll get another safety car. So that actually gives the opportunity for all those drivers that had to come into the pit lane after that pileup at turn 2 for them to catch back up to the field. So that'll be good. So now that the safety car is out on track, we will get the racing underway probably in the next 2 laps or so. I wonder if these drivers that are on 7-lap old mediums are going to pit. I'm assuming they're probably onto the hards. I think that's the best strategy right now, is to pit onto the hard compound tires. If you're on the softs or the hards, I would pit onto the mediums, because the mediums will probably go to the end. You have to make sure that you make those mediums last for as long as possible, though. All right, so it is Crossfire, it is Big Weir, it is Lucas in Germany as well, and Shug's Life all into the pit lane. Keenstone decides to stay out and retake the lead of the Grand Prix. Crossfire on the softs. Very interesting. Okay, so he's coming out on the softs, and he's going to probably have to pit again, probably twice. Shug's Life, the same strategy. Interesting, very interesting. So Crossfire and Shug's Life have gone onto the soft compound tires. The question is, what will they do once will they pit again? Will onto maybe another set of softs or maybe another set of mediums? I don't know. I don't know what strategy they're going to do here, because they can't make it to the end. Those softs will die out in the next 10 laps at most. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm actually puzzled on this one, guys. I don't know exactly what strategy this could be. I think this mainly is just a soft. It's definitely a 2-stop strategy here. The softs to the mediums or the softs to the softs. It depends on how long you make those softs last and if you have soft tires available. So we'll see how this all works out. But it is the Porsches P4 and P5. Lucas A. Germany has pit for the hards. That's the strategy I thought was going to happen. And Lucas has gone for that. Robin as well has also gone for that. Yo-Yo on the hards as well. He's going to catch back up as well. Lewis on the mediums. That is very interesting. So the driver that was in P2, I think, he started P2 in the race, down in P9 right now, after I think that pileup kind of unfortunately hurt his race. Lewis might be able to take these mediums to the end of the Grand Prix if he just makes sure that he conserves them. I said that earlier, that you could probably take mediums to the end from now on. I think you probably can. As long as you just make sure that you keep those tires ready and available and not degrade them too much with the degradation for rounds here. Usually on other circuits, I would say, yes, the mediums will definitely last to the end of the Grand Prix. But this one, they're going to be a little bit, they're going to be dropping off. They're going to be dropping off towards the end of the race. I think by lap 23, they'll definitely start dropping off, and that could affect the end results. But we'll see. I mean, there's 16 laps basically remaining of the Grand Prix. Technically around 17. But yeah, I don't know. I think these drivers will probably... I think Lewis will definitely take those mediums to the end of the race. But he has to make sure that he just keeps it going. As that is one of the Porsches in the pit lane. That is Lucas A. Germany in the pit lane. Lucas A. Germany is coming into the pit lane and pit onto a set of medium compound tires. That is very surprising, actually. That he has done that. He's going to come out, I think, in P10, maybe P11, actually. He's being held up in the pit lane right now. I'm not sure what that was about. Did he get a 5-second penalty somewhere? I've got no idea. And unfortunately, because of that wait in the pit lane, he's going to come out in P11. Right behind Mr. Basil and ahead of Court. Very interesting. So I wonder why he's pit onto the mediums. Maybe he thinks that the mediums will go to the end of the Grand Prix, and they definitely will. He's got to make sure that he just conserves those tires. He's got around 16 laps remaining of the race, so the mediums will definitely make it to the end about now. But they are going to be struggling quite a bit towards like lap 23, lap 24, somewhere around there. So we'll see how that all works out. But he has lost a lot of positions there, a lot of time to the rest of the drivers. So he's lost around 4 to 5 positions. I think he was down, I think he was in P5, if I'm not mistaken. He's now down in P11. So that's a total of 6 positions lost. I don't know. Was that the best situation? Was that the best situation? I don't know. I mean, losing 6 or 7 positions there is a big risk. I don't know. I don't know if that was the best situation or not. I mean, maybe he feels that was the better option. We'll find out. We'll find out if that was in just a few laps time. Once we get the racing underway, and then we get. Oh, Keenzone's got no wing. Where did that? How did that happen? Keenzone's got no wing, unless that's a total glitch. I don't think that is. No, Keenzone's got no wing. You can see it right there. He's got no wing. He's gonna have to come into the pit lane. That might have just ruined his race. And unfortunately, the safety car's coming in this pit lane now, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is. I think it should be. Yep, I think the safety, it's coming in the pit lane now. And Keenzone's gonna have to pit. I don't know what's gonna happen here. He's gonna have to pit this lap. He's trying to keep it going, making sure that he keeps the grid all there. So technically, the Monster Energy car, Snooker ML, will lead us away. And I think he'll go now. No, Keenzone will continue to back up the field. He's backing it up all the way to the pit lane, and he goes now. He does go now. He will go into the pit lane, and the Monster Energy car will take over the race lead for now, unless Crossfire tries to get ahead. Oh no, the safety car's coming in the pit. It's not coming in the pit lane. Okay, I thought it was. I'm sorry, I thought it was. I completely misjudged that. I thought the safety car was coming in the pit lane. I thought it already did, actually. Yeah, so this is actually really good for Keenzone. He's going to come back up to the field. He'll be on a set of soft compound tires. Don't think he'll make that to the end of the Grand Prix. It looks like Shug's Life also pit as well. I don't know why he pit. I wonder if he also had wing damage. Either way, it's a very difficult lap for Ford, as both their drivers that were up in the top 5 are now down at the back of the grid. So it will be the Monster Energy car of Snooker that will lead us away. Crossfire will be in P2, Big Weir in P3, Liam in P4, and Robin in P5. Very interesting. So we'll have 2 Monster Energy cars in the top 5. We haven't seen that yet in the Grand Prix. Monster Energy hasn't really been in the Grand Prix too much. It's mainly been the battle between Bentley, Porsche, and Toyota. We haven't seen too many of the Monster Energy cars in the Grand Prix. But that's okay. We will now get that in now. Monster Energy have a huge chance of winning this race because one of their cars has got fresh new tires. That's Liam in P4. I mean, they're a little bit old, but they're 7 laps old. He will probably have to pit again, but he is going to be in contention. Where Snooker is got 10 lap old mediums compared to Crossfire, who's on 1 lap old softs. Pretty big difference there. Pretty big difference. And Mr. Basil is on 3 lap old mediums as well. Mr. Basil is going to have a really good chance of possibly getting a really good result. He got P4 in the race, which was really good for him. Hopefully he'll be able to get some more really good points in today's race. We will find out how that works out in just a moment's time, because the safety car is coming in this lap. It should be coming in this lap unless there's a glitch or anything like that. I think it's coming in now. Yes, there we go. Safety car notification has been enabled. Safety car in this lap from race control. The Monster Energy team will lead us away. And the question will be, where does Snooker go? Will he go off the exit of turn 20 like Big Weir? Not exactly sure. We will find out in just a moment, though. He's going a little fast. And now he goes. Oh no, he's backing up the field. He's backing up the field. He was going fast earlier, and now he's backing up the field. He has every right to do so, and there he goes. Very interesting strategy there from Snooker there, as he was going fast and then decided to slow down at the end of it. And like I mentioned previously, he's got every right to do so. But Crossfire's got the better exit, and he's going to get past pretty easily there with those soft compound tires. I think he's just got the better traction out of that particular corner and was able to get ahead. Big Weir's now going to have the opportunity to make the move on Snooker. There he goes. The Porsche will try and get past and up into P2. There he goes. He's up into second now. Liam will try and get involved here too, but actually Snooker's going to try and go around the outside. No, he does not. He backs off there and actually lets his teammate pass in the process. So Liam will now get up into P3 and start chasing after Big Weir in the Porsche. So we'll see. So the reserve driver is going to look to get ahead of Crossfire as well. But the thing is that Crossfire is going to start gaining so much time on those softs. But by the end of it, Big Weir might be able to just get ahead of him, because Crossfire those tires are not going to last to the end of the Grand Prix. That is just a fact. They will definitely not last to the end of the race. If he's able to do this, if he's able to take those softs to the end of the Grand Prix, I will absolutely be like amazed that he will be able to do that. But I don't know. Well, I don't think it's possible, but yeah, we'll see. Anything, I guess, is possible in F1. As that is the Ford. I think that might be Kingsholm. It is Kingsholm. Turn 8. It has been a difficult race for him, as he's down to P15, has damage, I do believe. Once again, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly. We'll find out in a bit if he comes into the pit lane or not. Lewis is starting to gain time on Liam now and trying to get back up into the top 3. And where's Lucas A. Germany? He's trying to make the move on Mr. Basil. He's up to P9. Robin's trying to make the move on Yo-Yo, who goes over 1, has wing damage as well. He's got wing damage. He hit the wall, has wing damage now. Here comes Mr. Basil, going to try and make the move on Yo-Yo. I cannot find a good camera angle. There we go. Here comes Robin on Snooker as well. Mr. Basil will get ahead, I think, as well. There goes Mr. Basil on his teammate. Gets ahead. Lucas A. Germany now gets ahead as well. Oh, that's back at the back there. As that is one of the Fords off the track. I think that's Shug's Life. Shug's Life into the wall. And Kingsholm is out of the race as well. Kingsholm is out of the Grand Prix. Unfortunate to see that. That's the way it goes, though. As number 1 fan will look to get ahead of Snooker as well. Safety car for a 3rd time in the race. And why is that? Why is that? Is that because of maybe a very late call for when Kingsholm retired? I have no idea. But a 3rd safety car is out on track for the 3rd time. We got another safety car. I told you guys earlier on that the safety car is going to come out multiple times today, and it's definitely done so. Azerbaijan has had a lot of times where we've had the safety car, but that's how it goes. That is definitely how it goes, and we move on. Alrighty, so Crossfire will lead us away. He's most likely going to come into the pit lane, though, because this has actually worked out beautifully for him. He's probably going to come into the pit lane and pit on to another set of mediums. Because, I mean, well, he's used those softs before. This would be the perfect time to come into the pit lane and pit onto another set of tires. And it is going to be mediums for Crossfire. As he comes into the pits, he's going to come out, I do believe, P8 or P9, somewhere around there. But a few drivers are actually coming in the pit lane, so he might come out ahead of some of those drivers. I think it's going to be behind his teammate and ahead of Walter in the Bentley. I do believe that's how that's going to work out. Yes, it is. Crossfire will come out in P6. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So this has worked out beautifully for him. The safety car was actually a perfect time. He's going to come out on fresh new sets of medium compound tires. And he's going to start chasing after Brad, Lucas A. Germany, Robin, Lewis, Big Weir. So the 5 drivers ahead of him, gotta watch out, because here comes Crossfire. He's coming in fast. So Big Weir will lead us away for the 2nd time today. Lewis and Robin move themselves up into 2nd and 3rd for Bentley. Bentley put themselves into the podium contention once again. Lucas A. Germany, Brad, and Crossfire still in that battle, though, as well. Brad has been very quick so far. We haven't seen too much of him in the top, 3, but now he's kind of in that position. So that'll be great. And we know Lucas A. Germany's pace. We know Crossfire Strike's pace. Both of them have been fighting for the win previously. Lucas A. Germany started on pole position. Crossfire Strikes started on pole in the one-shot qualifying. So I think they're on similar pace, and I think they can have a really good fight here for possibly P1 in the Grand Prix. But they have to remind themselves that there's a lot of other drivers that are going for first as well. So I think a lot of things has changed now. Mr. Basil, Yo-Yo is put onto the soft compound tires. Both drivers come into the pits for the softs. The only other driver that's not on mediums or softs is Robin, and he's in P3 on the hard compound tires. Those hards are going to be a little slow, but towards the end of the Grand Prix, they're going to be very fast, and I think he didn't want to risk losing track position, but that is quite all right. So meanwhile, safety car will most likely come into the pit lane at the end of next lap. So we'll get some time to chill, relax, and kind of get ready for this final stint of the race. It's going to be truly incredible, guys, to see how this all works out. Who will win the Grand Prix? So many drivers have a chance of winning this Grand Prix. It's going to be really, really interesting. We have a few comments coming in as well. We have a comment that came in. It says, come on, Big Weir. Big Weir's #1 fan. Yeah, let's go, Big Weir fans. Definitely a Big Weir fan myself as well. I want him to do good as well, man. So, yeah, let's see if Big Weir's able to get a good result in today's race. He commentated the last race with me, and we had a lot of fun. And I want to see him do well here today in Azerbaijan. Could he win the Grand Prix? He's got that penalty, which could affect his end result as well. He's got 3-second time penalties, where a lot of his other rivals don't. Robin has a 3-second time penalty, but everyone else doesn't have any penalties so far. So that'll affect his result. But if he's able to get ahead, get that 3-second gap to the other drivers like Lewis, Lucas A. Germany, the other drivers like that, he might be able to win this one. Who knows? And even a podium. I think he'd be happy with the podium. So who knows? We'll find out how this works out. But he has to make sure he gets the best start as possible. He's led the safety car before. The very first one, he led the safety car, so he knows how to do it. And I'm sure he's got a lot of experience from previous league racing as well on leading safety cars. So he knows where to go. He knows exactly where to set up the grid and then to kind of run away with it. So we'll see how this all works out. Hopefully it works out great for Big Weir. So what else can we talk about? Do you guys have any questions? Let me know down in the comments below. I think we just I gotta mention one more thing. I guess if you want to check out the standings, if you want to check out the highlights video of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, if you don't want to watch the full race, there's going to be a highlights video posted later on. Looks like the admins of LFR will get to work on that very soon, and the highlights video will be coming out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, so definitely go check that out, and the standings will be posted in that so you can take a look at it with your own eyes. Since we're streaming on the PlayStation, I can't put it up on screen with I wish I could. Maybe down the line I'll be using OBS or Elgato or something like that. We'll see how that all works out. But anyway, moving on, Big Weir is going to lead us away now as we head into the final 10 or so laps of the Grand Prix here today in Azerbaijan. He will probably go at the end of it, so we'll see. So here he comes. He's gonna. Well, let's ride on board with Big Weir. Let's ride on board with him. Why not? As he comes down, is he gonna go right under the bridge here? Safety car's coming in, and there he goes. Right after the bridge, he gets a great start off of Lewis. 0.3 of a second. That's a pretty decent start. Now 0.4. That gap should be increasing. They are both on similar tire wear as well. This is great to see, but any battling going on? It looks like one of the Porsches was trying to make a move on possibly Robin. I think it was Lucas A. Germany. Further down, Walter and Shug's Life had a nice battle as well. Lucas A. Germany did get past Robin there, up into third now. He's now trying to make the move on Lewis as well. Meanwhile, Liam and Shug's Life having a nice battle as well. Liam is going to look to get ahead of Walter. Here we go. Shug's Life right there as well, coming down to turn 3. Who's going to get ahead? Is it Liam down the inside on Walter? They're side by side. Good racing there. Liam can't get ahead. He's looking for the move, but cannot make it. Further down, we got Shug's Life and Yo-Yo side by side for P9 in the Grand Prix. Shug's Life will unfortunately be down to P10, but Yo-Yo will move himself up into 9th position on the soft compound tires, remember. So looking pretty good. #1 fan and Mr. Basil up there, as well as Crossfire and Robin swap positions. Crossfire up to 4th position now. Robin down to 5th. Those hards not really working out for him right now. Meanwhile, Lucas A. Germany try and make the move on Lewis as fast as possible as well. Let's see if Lewis will keep ahead. I'm sure he will. Crossfire will look to get ahead of Robin. Lucas will look to get ahead of Lewis. Let's see. Here comes Lucas. Shifting up very shortly there. But meanwhile, Big Weir has got almost a 2-second gap to Lewis, and Lewis gets a 3-second time penalty. Lewis gets a 3-second time penalty, and this is more good news for Big Weir. Lewis has that penalty. Not good news for Lewis, as he's going to be struggling to keep it up in the podium positions. Lucas A. Germany now trying to make the move. He's using all that ERS. Let's get telemetry out on screen as well, so you guys can see as there's Crossfire strikes as well. They're going 3 wide. I did not see Crossfire as well. Crossfire's going for it. Down the inside goes the Toyota. He goes a little deep. Comes back. There goes Robin, I think that is. Robin now up into, no, that's Lewis up into P2. This is great racing that we're seeing here for second place. Crossfire, Lewis, and Lucas A. Germany in that battle for second. Crossfire up to second place now. Lewis and Lucas A. Germany have been overtaken by Crossfire. Oh, Lewis goes a little bit wide. That might invite Lucas to get ahead. A little bit contact between the two. Robin might get involved as well. The Bentley looking to get up into those positions. Walter in the second Bentley as well. Walter in P6 looking to join his teammates up there as well. He's close behind. We'll see how that all works out. He's actually under pressure from Liam though, but he's starting to chase after Robin and the rest of the pack there. Meanwhile, Lucas A. Germany on Lewis. Lucas knows that if he's going to win this Grand Prix, he has to get after Crossfire's strikes. He has to overtake him. And now Crossfire is starting to gain the time on Big Weir. He's starting to gain the time on Big Weir. He's got the gap down to 1/10 of, or 1.1 seconds to Big Weir. Very interesting. So about 1 or 2 tenths separating the two drivers before Crossfire gets within the DRS zone. So if he gains 2 more tenths, he's going to be within the DRS of Big Weir. It won't be enabled quite yet. It'll be enabled on the next lap. And Lucas A. Germany trying to make that move on Lewis as well. Lewis has got 40% ERS. Lucas has got 57% ERS. So the difference between ERS is quite different between the two drivers. No DRS enabled quite yet. Is Lucas going to try and make the move? He's going to try and go around the outside? No, he does not. Lewis defends the inside line. Lucas might try and go to the inside now, try and go for the switchback maneuver. He's going to look for the move. No, he's just going to go back behind him, wait for that DRS, and there is the DRS. Now he uses the ERS. Now he's going for it. He's going to try and get past Lewis, and I think he's just going to get past the Bentley driver. Lewis trying to keep ahead. He's going to try and send it down the inside, but Lucas just gets ahead. Good move. Good move from Lucas. Good overtaking. Brilliant battling there between the two drivers, and Robin's now joined the party as well. Robin on those 8-lap-old hards are starting to come into play, I think. I think those hards are starting to get good. As there goes Crossfire for the race lead. Crossfire has done it. He has made the move on Big Weir. He has got past into first position on lap 18. Crossfire takes over the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Big Weir is down to second place now. And he has to make sure he keeps that gap to Lucas A. Germany. Right now he's 2.3 seconds. So that's not good. That's not good for Big Weir. So currently it will finish like this. Crossfire in first, Lucas A. Germany in second, and Big Weir in third. But Big Weir he wants to make sure he keeps within that DRS of Crossfire and possibly even fight the Toyota driver for the win here. Let's see how this all works out. He's within the DRS, so he'll get DRS down the straight, which is going to help him out to stay ahead of the rest of the drivers behind in terms of the gap. So he's going to get DRS here. He's going to gain the time on Crossfire. Here he goes. He's got the DRS. You can see him slowly gaining up to the Toyota. Well, the Toyota had a really good lap there and set a 141.691, the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So currently Crossfire will be scoring the max amount of points today. So we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. But Lucas A. Germany starting to gain a little bit of time on Big Weir now. 2.6 seconds separating Big Weir and Lucas A. Germany. Lewis is 1.5 seconds. Robin, Walter, number 1 fan. The Bentley's going really well right now, as actually Walter and number 1 fan swap positions there. Liam will get ahead actually as well. I think Walter's struggling a little bit off of that corner. He might have wing damage. It looks like he's getting a lot of understeer into certain parts of the track. Looks like we also have Mr. Basil and Court having a nice battle for 11th right now. Wonder if those softs are starting to drop off for Mr. Basil. Not exactly sure. Ford is not having the best of days right now, guys. They're not having the best of days. They're down in P10 and P11. One of the drivers is out, and one of the drivers is here today. Same with Monster Energy. Only one of the drivers is in the top 10. But they will all be scoring points today, all 3 drivers, so that's good. Yeah, it's mainly been the battle between Porsche, Bentley, and Toyota. And mainly, it's been the battle between Bentley and Porsche. Because Lucas A. Germany, Big Weir, and Lewis, Robin, number 1 fan, and Walter have been battling away. And then we got one of the Toyotas, Yo-Yo there as well, and Crossfire. Yo-Yo goes a little bit wide there. That might invite the Ford driver, Shug's Life, to try and make the move on Yo-Yo. Let's see. Oh, we got a much better exit out of turn 19. He's going to go for it. There he goes. He's got the DRS. Big Weir into the pit lane. Big Weir into the pit lane. Why is that? Walter also in the pits. What's he pitting? Oh, he's pitting for the soft. Very interesting. So Big Weir into the pit lane. Very surprised about that one, guys. I'm a little surprised about that one. I wonder why he pit. Interesting. Maybe he thought he couldn't make it to the end of the race, or maybe he wanted to go fastest lap. He is a reserve driver, so the points won't be like a huge deal, you know. Won't be like a huge deal, and maybe he wants to go for the fastest lap and maybe try and just get up there. We'll see. We'll see how this all works out. But Crossfire and Lucas A. Germany are now 1-2. 4.3 seconds separating the two drivers. Now, Crossfire is on fresher compound tires, so he's going to be on the faster tires as well. Meanwhile, the three Bentleys are P3, P4, and P5. Now, all on different tires and different percentages as well. Lewis on 10-lap-old mediums, Robin on 10-lap-old hards, and number one fan on 7-lap-old mediums. So all three are on different tires, and Walter, the fourth Bentley, is down in P14 on the softs. That is a VSC. And why has that been called out? Has that been called out because of one of the Bentleys, I want to say, or maybe one of the Monster Energy cars? Not exactly sure. But otherwise, the VSC has been called out on track. And that means that we'll get pretty much a stop in the race. Tire degradation will kind of be stopped. All the drivers will get a moment to breathe. And then they'll get back into the race for the final 6 laps of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Lucas A. Germany into the pit lane. I wonder if these tires are just not lasting. As Yo-Yo has just retired. Yo-Yo has retired from the Grand Prix, and a full course safety car has been deployed for the 4th time in the Grand Prix because Yo-Yo is out of the race. After a VSC has been called out, a full course safety car is now on track, and a lot of drivers will be really upset about that one, I think. But a 4th safety car has been called out on track. I cannot believe what has just happened now. I mean, I expected a lot of safety cars in Azerbaijan. I didn't expect this many. Alright, so Crossfire most likely going to come into the pit lane to pit onto a set of soft compound tires. Same thing with Lewis, Robin, probably does your number one fan. Pretty much all the way up from the top 6 will probably all come into the pit lane. Let's see what Crossfire does. He is coming into the pit lane and will pit onto the softs. Most likely. Lewis, will he come into the pit lane? Let's see. No, he stays out. Interesting. What about Robin? He stays out too. Same with number one fan. Bentley strategy. Liam as well comes into the pit lane. Or no, it stays out as well. What about Court? No, he stays out too. Very interesting. So Crossfire is the only one that is pit. He comes out in P5. And now what has happened is that we have got the Bentleys in P1, P2, and P3. And like I mentioned previously, and like we saw in Spain last time out, the moment the Bentleys got 1, 2, 3, they worked beautifully together. I think this could work again. If the Bentleys stay like this, they might be able to do the strategy of one driver winning the Grand Prix, one driver in second place and kind of just doing their job of consistently keeping up with that driver and becoming kind of the defend. And then the third driver becoming the driver that defends against all the drivers here. And this is the thing, is that I feel like this is kind of like a wall. They're kind of putting up like a wall here. As Lucas A. Germany and Oh, Lucas Germany and Big Weir get a 5-second penalty each. I wonder if that's going to get removed. Ooh, that could affect their end result of the Grand Prix. That's unfortunate. Don't know how that's going to work out. But yeah, what I was saying is that these guys are putting up a wall, basically. They basically got the one driver. They're focusing on one driver winning the Grand Prix, really. In this case, it's Lewis. I think Lewis is the driver to kind of win this race. He's been on fire throughout this entire race. Has been battling for the race victory. Started P2, if I'm not mistaken, in the race. He is the driver to kind of lead us away. And then they have the driver in third that's kind of defending that wall. Once that driver gets overtaken, and if we're doing the wall terms, then once that wall is broken, then you have the extra wall. You have the second wall. You have the second defense. So you have another wall in case of that third wall breaking. In this case, it would be number one fan losing that position. And then you got Robin now defending. He becomes the defend. And the worst case scenario would be if Robin gets overtaken too. And then Lewis has to become not just winning the Grand Prix, but also defending. But what I'm saying is that this system works. This system works with these three drivers in this pair. I don't know how this is going to work out here in Azerbaijan. It worked out beautifully in Spain. I don't know if they're going to do exactly the same as they did in Azerbaijan, in Spain, to here in Azerbaijan. But we'll find out. And the best thing for them is to make sure that they get the best points. They're working as a team here. They're wanting to get the best points for the team. And all Bentley want is to make sure that they get a good result. So we'll see how this all works out. But the thing is that they do have 3-second time penalties. So currently, number one fan is the driver basically to win this Grand Prix because he has, if he can get past Robin Lewis and get ahead, I think that would be better for Bentley because Lewis and Robin probably are going to drop back to the field. So it would be the best situation for number one fan to keep ahead. You get what I mean? I hope you guys do. I probably didn't explain it very well, but that's okay. Anyway, Liam is going to be the driver that's looking to chase after these guys. I think he's the first of the other teams looking to get ahead of the three Bentley drivers and stop that wall from staying up. He's got to make sure he breaks that wall down. And by breaking that wall down, it would be overtaking the drivers. Speaking of walls, Azerbaijan's got an incredible wall. It's the Fortress Wall, which was built in 1138. I mentioned it briefly earlier on. It's right here. It is a beautiful wall. When the F1 drivers and the F1 organizers, there it is right there. I can't really show you guys. There it is. It's like a castle, basically. But when F1 organizers show the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, they really show that corner and that wall. It is pretty cool to see how that works out. When I did a thumbnail for a video I was doing for Azerbaijan, I did that. I picked that section of the track to show. All right, so it looks like the safety car will most likely come into the pit lane. Everyone has catched up. We have 13 racers left here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Crossfire Strikes is going to be the one. He's going to be the one that's going to be challenging these guys because he is on soft tires that are brand new. This is going to be really interesting. So now we're going to find out what is Bentley planning here. What are they going to do? Are they going to back up here and make sure they get a good start? They are all one team. So they want to make sure they get the perfect start as possible for the team. So let's find out. Lewis will lead us away. Robin in P2. Number one fan in P3. And then the rest of the pack. So where will Lewis go? Will he go here? Yes, he does. And wait, is he? Yes, he does. He did get a good start. Okay, Lewis got a great start. Robin got a great start. Number one fan got a great start. And now this is basically the Bentleys. This is... Oh no! Crossfire and Liam make contact. No way. No way. I cannot believe it. The driver that could have won this Grand Prix and both drivers that could have won the Grand Prix are down and out basically of the Grand Prix. Liam and Crossfire both have damage here. This is horrible. Oh, Liam and Crossfire. Little bit of contact there. Keep it clean, guys. Make sure to keep it clean. But they made contact. And unfortunately, there's a Sector 1 yellow flag. I think that might be the Ford of Shug's Life. Yes, that is the Ford of Shug's Life. And oh my goodness, I can't believe that those two drivers were possibly going to win the Grand Prix. Big Weir's got a huge shot at winning this as well, but they both have 5-second time penalties. So Court could be ended up on the podium as well. Court could be ended up in P2 for Ford. I think number 1 fan's about to win this Grand Prix for Bentley. Bentley haven't grabbed the win yet. If I'm not mistaken, it was Ford in Austria. And I think in, who was it? In Spain. It was King David, I think. I think it was King David for Monster Energy. I can't remember exactly, though. I don't think it was Bentley. I don't think it was Porsche. And I don't think it was I don't think it was Toyota. So I think it was Monster Energy. Anyway, moving on. Robin, a number 1 fan, making sure that they... Oh, no! Lewis! Lewis, no way! No way! The race leader! The race leader! This is drama on lap 24. The race leader has just collided with the wall. He's coming into the pit lane. Number 1 fan will take the lead of the Grand Prix. Lewis is... That's it. That is it for Lewis. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. Lewis, he was leading the Grand Prix. It was going all so well. And it didn't. At the end of it, it didn't. And I wonder if Big Weir and Lucas A. Germany will get these penalties removed. They might be getting these penalties removed. Robin is trying everything to keep ahead of Big Weir and Lucas A. Germany. He's using that ERS to try and get past. Number 1 fan takes over the lead of the Grand Prix. Here comes Big Weir and Robin. Big Weir gets ahead. Lucas A. Germany might get ahead as well. He does. He does. The 2 Porsches get up in a second and third. I cannot believe what has just happened here. And effectively, right now, Big Weir and Lucas A. Germany have 5-second penalties, but they might get those removed. And this is basically the battle for the race victory as we enter the final lap. Crossfire's out of the Grand Prix. It has been a very difficult day for him in the race here in Azerbaijan. I don't know what happened between him and Liam. I think that'll probably be reviewed by the stewards. We will find out. But here comes Big Weir. He's on fresh new set soft tires. Currently, I don't think he'll win the Grand Prix, but if he gets that 5-second penalty, if anyone knows, if there's any admins listening right now that know if he's going to get that penalty removed, please let me know. That would be really much appreciated. I think he's going to try and get past, though. I think he's going to try and get past right now on number 1 fan. Look how close he is. He is within a 1/10 of a second to number 1 fan. He's going to try and make that move, so Dazzy has to defend like he's battling for the race victory, because he is battling for the race victory, but he probably doesn't know that Big Weir and Lucas will get those penalties removed, or if they will get removed. Right now, we don't have enough information on if they will be removed, but we're now entering the final lap of the Grand Prix. Who will win the Grand Prix in a chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix that had 4 different safety cars, a few pileups? Brad has made his way up to 4th place. Where did Brad come from? He was at the back, I think. He's now up to 4th, making his way through the field. Here comes Big Weir on number 1 fan. Is he going to try and go for it? Here he goes. Down the inside goes Big Weir for the race victory. They're side by side. Keep it clean, guys. This is for the race victory on the final lap of the race. Everyone's trying to keep ahead. Number 1 fan trying to keep ahead. He's on older tires, though. This is not working out for him. Big Weir, I think he's just going to get ahead. I think he is. Big Weir gets ahead up into 1st position now. Number 1 fan currently is going to win the Grand Prix, but if those penalties get removed... Oh, we got very close to tapping the back of Big Weir. If those penalties get removed, then it's Big Weir who's going to win the Grand Prix. It is Big Weir who's going to win the Grand Prix. I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know if those penalties will get removed, but we'll find out. As here we go. Is Lucas A. Germany going to try and make the move on number 1 fan? Is he going to try and go for it down the inside into turn 15? No, he does not. He backs off. He knows that he cannot make the move into that particular section, but he's going to try and make the move on number 1 fan into the DRS zone. I'm sure of it. I'm sure he's going to try and go for it. If it's not for 1st, it will most likely be for 2nd. But let's find out. I think it is going to be number 1 fan, though, that is going to finish in 1st position. Unless these penalties get removed somehow. We'll know more information in just a little bit. But Big Weir is going to come across the line to finish in 1st. And it is a photo finish between these 2 drivers. But number 1 fan will win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Bentley. Lucas A. Germany in P2. Big Weir in P3. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I cannot believe that has just happened here today. Number 1 fan, the winner of the race. Lucas A. Germany in P2. I think Big Weir had another penalty somehow. I couldn't really see. I think he did get another penalty somehow. I'm not exactly sure. So will it be Lucas A. Germany or will it be number 1 fan? I think it's going to be number 1 fan winning it for Bentley. And I think Bentley will take their first win here today at Azerbaijan. He has done an absolutely amazing job, number one fan. To finish in first, Lucas A. Germany in P2 for Porsche. Big Weir in P3 for Porsche as well. Ford was able to grab P4 with Court. Congrats to him as well. P4, Robin in P5 for Bentley. Mr. Basil in the Monster Energy finishing P6 with Brad in P7, and I think the two Monster Energy cars, and I think Walter in P10 if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at the grid again. But it is this guy, number one fan, is the winner of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Driver of the day, Court. I have to look and see where he started on the grid, but I'm sure he started somewhere unbelievable and finished somewhere unbelievable after starting in that position. So congrats to him if he for the driver of the day, of course. So it is number one fan that lifts the trophy here today in Azerbaijan. He grabs the most points out of any driver. It is also Lucas A. Germany on the podium and Big Weir as well. Congrats to all three drivers. They all deserve what they got here today. Congrats to all the drivers. That was a really entertaining Grand Prix. A lot of fun to commentate that one. I'm sure the drivers enjoyed it as well. We had a really phenomenal race. So that is the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. That's the results for round 3 here in Formula 4. It is Dazzy number one fan in P1 for Bentley, starting third, finished first. Lucas A. Germany started P1, finished second. Big Weir started fourth, finished third. It is Court that started 11th, finished fourth. I think he does deserve that driver of the day with Robin, Mr. Basil, Brad, Lewis, Walter, Shug's Life, Liam, Snooker, and I do believe Crossfire, who retired, and then the rest of the field who all retired. And then Lewis grabbed the fastest lap of the race, a 140.464, so congrats to him. But it is his teammate, number one fan, that grabs the win. It could have been, I think it could have been Lewis's win. Unfortunately, at the what was it? The last couple of corners there, it didn't kind of work out for him. So unfortunate to see that, but that's the way it goes in racing, especially at this very difficult track where, unfortunately, the walls are so close together that the drivers have no escape. They really don't have any escape to hit the wall, you know. The car kind of pulls itself. Especially when you're on older tires, understeered as well. If you understeer it into the wall, that can be a problem as well. But that's okay. We move on, and truly, that was an incredible race, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. That was the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here at LFR Formula 4. This was the round 3 race, so an incredible race. It truly was really, really phenomenal one. So, I think that concludes everything. I think we're just gonna round off the season. Or sorry, not the season, the race here today. It is gonna be an incredible race. It was an incredible race here today in Baku. But next week we'll be heading to a more open track, I'd say, and a more familiar track to everyone. It is going to be the Italian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza circuit in Monza, Milano, Italy. A phenomenal circuit. It truly is. It is deep in Formula 1 history. Monza. We will see you next week for round 4 of the Formula 4 Championship here on Thursday. It is going to be incredible to see how that all works out. But anyway, that's going to be it from us here today at LFR. Subscribe to see more LFR content. Check out the highlights video when that comes out on LFR YouTube channel. You can do that by subscribing to the channel. Like the video if you enjoyed the commentary as well. That would be hugely appreciated. And I'm Formula Jonah. If you want to follow me on social media, check out what I do on there. Go check me. Go look at my content that I do on YouTube. I also do content on Twitch, so definitely follow both of those channels. That would be hugely appreciated to me. So thank you very much. And guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys are incredible as always. Thank you to all the admins. Thank you to all the drivers. And of course, thank you to all of the viewers for watching the race. So we'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.